Like a lot of Americans of multiple generations, as a young kid, I was under the impression that the US was the defender of freedom and liberty in the world. Within that framing, the hot seat doesn't really feel out of place at all. Of course, that's what the good guys would talk about, who the bad guys are and what we can do to prevent them from spreading their badness any further. And then the US invaded Iraq. Iraq had also been on the hot seat for years prior to the invasion. Saddam Hussein was a caricature for evil and inhumanity in the US media for over a decade before the US invaded Iraq and deposed him. And then a year or two into the occupation of Iraq, I saw this photo. That is Donald Rumsfeld, U.S. Secretary of Defense under George W. Bush, serving as an envoy for the Reagan administration in 1983, shaking hands with Saddam Hussein in Baghdad. This was during the early years of the Iran-Iraq War, and Rumsfeld was there to secure a large arms deal with Saddam, transferring him weapons which he would use indiscriminately to murder Iranian civilians as well as Iranian soldiers in one of the bloodiest wars in the second half of the 20th century. These weapons included mustard gas canisters, which were and are illegal under international law, and the possession of which was later used as evidence against Saddam in the run-up to the invasion in 2003. It turns out the Bush administration did know that Saddam Hussein had weapons of mass destruction after all, because it was members of the Bush administration who gave them to him. The 1979 Iranian Revolution and subsequent hostage crisis is often looked at through U.S. eyes as the starting point of modern U.S.-Iranian relations. As though Iran suddenly woke up one morning calling the U.S. the Great Satan and chanting death to America for no good reason. But between 1953 and 1979, the U.S. backed Iran's dictator known as the Shah, who ran a brutal secret police force who rounded up, tortured, and murdered at least tens of thousands of political dissenters and opponents during his tyrannical reign over the country. And if that's not bad enough, the U.S. and the U.K. actually put him in charge in a 1953 coup. The democratically elected president of Iran, Mohammad Mossadegh, had been working for several years at that point to nationalize Iran's vast oil wealth, most of which was under the control of the Anglo-Iranian Oil Company. You might be familiar with them in their modern costume, BP. Once BP realized Mossadegh had the people on his side and wasn't going to stop until he had taken back all of the oil that BP had stolen under the British colonial government, they called their friends at MI6, which is British Secret Intelligence, who in turn called their friends at the CIA. A coup followed shortly after, sweeping Mossadegh from power, and even attempting later to try him at The Hague for violations of international law pertaining to his policies governing BP's oil in Iran. And then after nearly 30 years, this collapsed, leading to the Iranian Revolution, the U.S. Embassy hostage crisis, and then the Iran-Iraq War, the U.S.'s revenge on Iran for rejecting its imperial rule.